It's not a recent story, but this guy that he's like an inspector at the company. So like when one of the contractors we work for, he has to come in and give a little check, like, oh, okay, it's all good. You can begin this process now. But he's a lot of guys like that take the job because it's California. It pays a lot higher, that job, and it's like a union job. So they'll come from like the deep south.
Yeah.
And this guy has like I don't know where he's from. He's like got a Theo Vaughn kind of accent, and like not nearly as funny. However, you might disagree after you hear the story because it's pretty good. In the Bay Area, I thought this was a thing everywhere, but in the Bay Area, it's a big Vietnamese culture, and there's these things called Vietnamese coffee shops, and they have their massage parlors. And if you're kind of perverted, you kind of know what happens at some of the massage parlors, the ones where you can't see through windows, things like that. Now, the coffee shops are different. They are like these like kind of Vietnamese iced coffee, which is like crack. It's like absolutely insane. They serve that, and then you can play the lottery in there and like weird scratcher games. And then they'll always have like random sports games on. And you can smoke inside. I mean, I don't think any of that's like sanctioned by the city, but I'm like, whatever.
Goes down.
It's what ends up happening. And funny story is my mom walked into one of those thinking it was just Vietnamese coffee. Hysterical. Very much the what is it? The Abe Simpson walk in, put the hat down, grab it, get out. So this guy goes to the massage parlor. Because he's noticing guys coming out of it and they don't look like they got a massage. And he's like, hey, is that one of those like little like rub and tugs? I was like, look, I probably is what I said. I'm like, I haven't been, but probably. And he's like, so you mean to tell me you just go in there, you lay down on the table, you get your little massage. It's kind of like a form, like kind of a going through the motions formality kind of thing. Like he's getting really into it, like going through the motions formality thing, and then they just jerk you off after. I'm like, allegedly, dude. I have no idea. Like I was like, why don't you go try it? And he goes, I think I might see about getting me one of the massages like that. Yeah. He says like that. I'm like, all right. And he goes, after a while, it's it's a little idle time, and he hasn't gone yet, and he's just looking around. He's like staring at it. He's just staring at it, and he's just like, what a concept.
Yeah.
That's what he says. He goes, what a concept. He's just staring at it. And I'm like, so then later he I didn't realize he went, but he came back, smile on his face, insane smile on his face.
No fucking way.
Yeah, some insane smile on his face. Because he's one of those guys where he can drive from job site to job site, so he can easily go get away with it. And he has like an unmarked truck because he's a contractor. And all of a sudden, and then he comes back, and I'm just like, I was like, yeah. And he goes, what a concept.
Damn.
What a concept. Like that. And he was floored. Yeah. He was floored by this. It was as though somebody in the 1800s went to go see Nikola Tesla and was just like, you have no idea what this guy's been working on. Like I've traveled the seas. I've seen this man, this great man, what he's been making.
Yeah, from the 5 to the 6, we be in the mix with that rare candy paint job on the whip. I need food for the kids, money for the rent. Fuck a lockdown, baby, I can't do that shit. And I don't never vote, cause I'm fucking broke. And either way, I know the police ain't gon' leave me alone. On a plane by to visit Glen Rock, need crypto, told me I should bring the Glock with me. So I packed up my piece and I'm sliding. Cause we might get caught up in a riot. Middle finger Trump, middle finger Biden. Fuck a left, fuck a right, is you riding? Know you love to see it, dudes rocking. Ain't no politics, baby, we just talking. From the birds to the bricks, we be in the mix with that rare candy paint job on the whip. Who you with?
What's the price tag on that, dude? What's the cost?
I should have asked.
Is it 80?
No.
That's what I think it's 80.
I bet they gouge you. I bet they gouge you. Like, cause it's like you're already here. So it's kind of like the movie theater, like movie theater milk duds or something. Like, like
plus posting out, you're not in like a good bargaining position. know, you're like haggle.
Well, you probably have to pay before because like you'll probably get weird after you bust.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like you'll probably be like, I didn't even want that.
Like 100%.
Like
that's crazy.
I had a Groupon. Yeah.
Agree.
I wanted a real massage.
My phone.
I know. Yeah, it was. But yeah, just
shout out to Sean. Shout out the Vietnamese dude. Shout out.
Yeah, because I don't think this is like other rub and tug places. Like I don't think that's. I think those are like a little seedier. Like these Vietnamese ones have like a lot of orchids happening. A lot of vibrant. Now the coffee shop is debaucherous. Like it is just like you
Sounds
like walk in,
fun.
you're like,
Yeah,
no, it's not though. It's that like you would think that's everything I would want in a place is to gamble. I'm just like, you walk in, you're like, you walk in and it's like this guy it's like one of those Star Wars bars, like where it's like just like thing runs into you and like you're like, what was that? Tatooine ass like bar or something. Like just a big like a big like glob of human just walks in, just like bumps shoulders with you. It's very strange. And it's dude, the weirdest thing is you'll go into those places and a guy will just be eating. Like, are you like a full meal? Like he's got like the thing tucked in. Yeah, it's like, nah, come on, man. Like, don't eat here. Like, the cook's like, oh, somebody ordered something. Like, I mean, I guess I gotta get some oil. I gotta get some oil, right? We gotta run to Costco and get a big ass thing of oil.
Heat up the fryer.
Exactly. Yeah. So I gotta. What a concept! The way it was just like he was just staring off, like he was just like looking at the sign, and because we're probably like 100 feet away from it, and he's just looking. What a concept! So that's great. So quick announcement here. Just if you're listening to us on YouTube, please subscribe. If you're not and you're listening on audio, go to wherever you listen, and if there's a rate and review option, we'd appreciate it if you did both. Cost you nothing, but really helps us. And of course, we have a Substack, rarecandy.substack.com. We just did our 75th premium episode. 75th. Doesn't feel like it, but it's a 75th premium episode on there. That's where Gain of Fiction, Glen Word, and all that stuff is. And then just really funny conversations with you and I can be found on there. So it's I got some funny things bookmarked today that I wanted to talk about that I definitely always save for the solo episodes. Oh, one more thing too. If you guys like that mailbag episode, the one before Adam, if you guys liked that, it does seem the numbers were really high for that one. That number is always available. I said it on there but like it's that number is
what number? What's the number again?
I gotta find it. I gotta find it again. It's a 510 number. That's the one thing I remember.
Drop a line anytime. Seriously.
Yeah. Okay. So the number is 510-256-9850. 510-256-9850. Just leave a voicemail. Even if we didn't call for questions, just leave one. If it's good, like whatever. I mean, like if you have a question, I mean, you don't always, if the next one's not for like a month or two, like you forgot what you were going to say, so just go ahead and leave it there. Even if I don't get to it right away, we'll probably get to it. It's very fun. And it's basically free stuff for us. Basically, it's easy money. And I think everybody likes it. So yes, on that note, what can you tell me? I've only been viewing this guy from afar. People are obsessed with him on Twitter. I see him and it looks strange, but I don't understand the derangement that much. What can you tell me about Bryan Johnson? That's Bryan with a Y.
Yeah.
Tell me who is he? Start from the get-go, because I know that we're gonna have some listeners who just aren't spurgy like that. Like
he's the dude.
He's not the lead singer of AC/DC.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, Bryan with a Y. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I guess his like he came up by, first of all, he's ex-Mormon, I think, which I think is interesting.
Sure.
It was always when you leave Mormonism, that's almost weirder than just staying for life. Like those people are never the.
Yeah, you just buy a crumble cookie.
Yeah.
You buy a crumble cookie franchise, and then you just go off. Crumble cookies.
Yeah,
Jesus.
dude. Yeah,
I can't. They're popping up. There's more and more everywhere.
That's like
I hate them.
It's like the Bitcoin rally in 2017. I feel that's what crumble cookie is now. It's just like everything.
It started from TikTok too. Like TikTok.
Yeah.
I know people like kind of like roll your eyes when you're like, it's Chinese spy software, but you're like, it's not that though.
And it's not.
So it's
not.
Like whether that moves the needle for you or not, it is that. I mean, any technology or any app you use is spy. I mean, I get it. Like you're being spied on. So it's not, you're forfeiting your civil liberties whenever you use any sort of app. So I get that. But it started on there. And like, I was just thinking, like, what if you tried to rob a crumble cookies? Like you're just pissed off that it's in your neighborhood and it's like this reverse. You're like mad. It's gentrifying. There's these weird Mormon, like Taysom Hill 6'5" Mormon guys running it. And these very like Greyhound looking women. staff there, and it's just too jolly for you. And if you like if you're like, give me all your money, and they're like, we're paperless, and you're like, oh shit, and then you like stab the guy, but then he's made out of cake secretly, like another TikTok trend. You're like, oh fuck. Show. Yeah,
and they're
like, yeah, exactly. To catch a murderer at Crumble. Yeah. We're gonna get you right back to the episode, but I just wanted to let you guys know of a few other things we offer at Rare Candy Industries. We have a Substack with free and paid subscription options. Free subscribers get access to all written content. That includes Bob's Red Pill. That's the best thing going on the internet right now. Trust me. Paid subscribers get full access to our premium episode feed. And that's just every episode we don't necessarily want to share with the general public, if you know what I'm saying. Again, that's rarecandy.substack.com. We also have merch. That link's a little long for me to say right now, but go to the description, go to our merch store, and find a shirt that's right for you. We have Rare Candy shirts, Dr. Bronner soap label shirts, Rishi mushroom shirts, all types of stuff there. Check it out. There's got to be something for you. And lastly, check us out on social media. On Instagram, we're Rare Candy Pod, but on Twitter, we're at Rare Candy Pod 1. All right, enough of that. Let's get you back into the episode. Anyways, Bryan Johnson, ex-Mormon.
That's I guess like I'll listen. First of all, he's everywhere now, and I think that's not organic. You know?
How did he get his money? How did he get his
so
money?
He sold Venmo. Really rich. He sold Venmo for $800 million.
Oh, so so Venmo was his startup.
I think it was called something else, but
he was early on Venmo. Yeah.
Yeah. So the dude's like clearly driven, you know, he's but then he started to get into the whole, so then now his whole thing, what he claims is he spends like $2 million a year just on getting body scanned every single day, every single slew of tests you can have, tries every anti-aging technology, and he's hyper focused with his diet, which is plant-based, I think. He's like vegan. He's kind of like me, where you're like kind of like plant-based, but you're not like really like about that activist life kind of thing, you know. Right. And also, so he spends a ton of money just on all this shit, and he's being interviewed by everyone, all these giant, you know, YouTube channels and all this stuff, and everyone's interviewing him. And
could we get him, do you think?
I bet we could figure it. I know some, due to the nature of my previous life, I do know some of the plant-based doctors that are in his circle, that are part of his like team and shit. Okay. And I don't think he only has plant-based doctors or whatever. But my cat just, I put her down and she just immediately jumps back.
Put her down wasn't the word I would use.
Yeah, exactly. I placed her. But so there's a lot I disagree with him. I do want to say that. Like I'm not like into his whole scene, but I kind of defend him he instantly gets the hate from like the Ray Peat crowd, right, and the based crowd and everything like that. And he is on some clown shit. Like he's crazy as fuck, you know, but just listen to him talk. He's very well spoken. He's very, and not in like the sleazy kind of trying to pull him over anyway. And I think he's really about this shit. And he's, yeah, I like his philosophy, you know, I like his thing. And people trip out because he takes like 100 supplements a day. That's their whole thing. He's just, you're just taking pills all day long, you know? And again, that's not for me. I probably take like 5 or 10 tops, you know? But most of the stuff he takes is just like herbal extracts, which I don't consider like a supplement. That's a plant. You're taking a plant, you know? That's different than taking like a mineral powder or like some weird, you know. What's funny is all the people that make fun of him for taking 100 supplements a day are the ones that are like, you need 6 grams of glycine a day, and you need all these weird amino acids and these peptides and all this. I'm like, you're doing the same thing. You're actually doing crazier shit.
Yeah.
But that being said, he is way teched out. He's a tech guy, you know. He's Venmo. Yeah. So I think he did.
Is he a transhumanist? I know that's a hot term.
Probably. I'd probably say he is. Well, his whole thing is like he's like a what's that called? Where the AI, where the technology starts to outpace human evolution, you know, where it's just
my fucking
singularity.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, he's one of those guys where it's like, just do anti-aging stuff for the next 40 years, because the technology by that point will be so crazy. Like the return on investment, you can't even imagine how good it's going to be. And I'm like, I don't believe that.
No. And
But,
is he saying it? Is he saying it in a sense like, okay,
like if you could live an extra 50 years, you'll probably be able to live an extra 1,000 is like his whole thing, you know?
So what I was
Yeah.
thinking was like, everything's going to be automated, so you might as well look good.
Oh yeah. And that's the thing. He is like all about the looks and shit too, which I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But he is a tech guy. I think he is. I think he got I think he got Vax injured by Moderna. You know, he's a big he's a big gene therapy guy. Besides the fucking. So again, like not my scene. Like I would never. And there's also shit he doesn't. Out of all this 100 supplements he takes, he doesn't take reishi mushroom. I'm like, bro, why are you taking this?
What are people's What is people hang up with it? I just don't get it.
I don't know, man. It's crazy. But again, it's very but the thing about him is he tests everything. So he has you can't question his results because he just publishes all his results that are more legit than most of us have because we're not tested in that way, you know. And again, I'm very Luddite, you know, it's not my whole thing, you know. But I like the guy, you know. I'd have a chat with him, you know. He'd answer any question, even if you're critical. I've heard people be really critical of him in interviews, and he's just like, yeah, this is what I think, whatever, you know. And he'll take it in stride, you know. He's versus the crazy insane egos I see on health Twitter all the time, you know. It's pretty stark comparison. You know,
I have a really I've had to kind of step back from I've always found those people annoying because they've refused to be entertaining health people. Like they think entertaining is like bad for your health. I'm like, why can't you be funny about any of this stuff? Even in like a cringe boomer way, like David Wolf is. Like at least he's like attempting. At least he's attempting to make, you know,
boomer memes. Yeah,
right. And then like Facebook, very like David Wolf will just be like make a Chuck Norris joke, you know what I mean? Like just like he'll do that, and it's like, well, that's his brand, plays to his brand. But other people, they're like, health is fucking serious, okay? Fucking, you know, like if you're even around seed oils, like you need to fucking red light therapy for like 7 days straight. If you're even around them, if you go to the county fair and smell something cooked by seed oils, you need to.
I noticed it even like 10 years ago when I was into this stuff, and I noticed it in other people, and I started to notice it myself, and I'm like, nope, don't want to be anything like that. You know, it's just like, and it's, I don't know. It's weird, man. It's fucking weird.
Well, and it's strange because, you know, I think it's important to perhaps explain a little bit of Ray Peat, because I don't think a lot of people, I'm hoping some of our audience doesn't know who Ray Peat is. Like in a sense, like I don't want everybody to always
Who's
coming
that
from Twitter
girl in our Discord that was like, "Who's Ray Peat?" Like, no,
what I don't want to say her name because maybe she's not.
I don't want
her name that thing like that. But like somebody, she posted her plate. We have a cooking channel in our Discord. Hit me up if you want to be in it. There's a slight vetting process, but you know, for the most part, you'll get in. Just hit us up. Either email rarecandyindustries.com. This is probably the best way to do it, or DM if you're allowed to. And but yeah, I mean, the girl was like, she was like, oh man, you know, I'm just eating my thing, and it was like, you know, some like egg, some fruit, and you know, it was a very nice light meal and stuff. And then somebody was like, Petey. She's like, what is Ray Peat, or what is Petey? And she's like, no, I'm just saying that's Petey. She goes, what is Pete? Like, I was like, that's good. We need more fans like that, because it's like because we have a lot of people that I like that really, it's gotten to the point where they're like attributing things to like Ray Peat's diet, which I think we should say what it is. And I feel like the minute there's a real Peatism hasn't been tried kind of feel to it, where if you even explain what it is,
it's a cult. It's a fucking cult.
They'll say, well, you didn't get it right. That's why you hate it. You don't know what it is. That's why you hate it.
Only you can fail Pete. Pete can never fail you. You
yeah.
know, it's like,
so Ray Peat is Eugene, Oregon, University of Oregon professor. Yeah, R.I.P. There's things I like. I'm saying right now, there's things I like. I love red light therapy.
Sounds like a genuinely good dude, too.
Yeah,
like he got his head screwed on straight and shit. Yeah.
And there are people, and I think there's a lot of people trying to achieve an aesthetic look, but either bodybuilding, lean up, lose weight, and they might be coming from like a chicken tenders only gamer Twitter poster diet, like chicken tenders and Red Bull kind of situation. I do think a lot of people are starting there and then moving to Ray Peat, and then like
it's like a first step for people.
Yeah. It's like when you're just like, I'm not gonna eat after 8.
Yeah.
After like only eating like fast food at like midnight for a lot of time, you'll lose like 30 pounds, like right off the bat if you're like really
100%.
fat. Like, and then you're after that, you have to come to the next, like, okay, well now what do I do? So Ray Peat is very much into it's a lot of meat. Right? It's a lot of meat, very protein forward, and a lot of fruit, which I'm fine with that personally. I think that's fine. Fruit, meat, and all that stuff.
Milk.
Weird about a lot of milk, preferably raw milk, but again, I don't always see people go by the raw milk. It's like it's one of those things where it's like, all right, cool. Like they've always hated on other healthy food diets, like not them, but people always hate on healthy food diets for being expensive. But it's like, man, if you're buying grass fed and raw milk and whatever else, like organic fruit or whatever, like it's stuff, it can rack up a lot. And then no seed oils whatsoever, which I'm for it. It's fine. I don't think you need to be dogmatic about it, but that's fine. It becomes a very strange thing, the seed oil thing, but I get it. And I would fully do a human experiment to ban them for the year from all cuisine. Like I would fully support it to do it, just to everybody on the same thing. Zero tolerance.
I have some thoughts on this. I have some thoughts on the seed oil thing. I'll save for later.
Okay,
but go on. Yeah.
So then, also some other stuff. I believe red light therapy, which I like. I'm very pro red light therapy. No problem with that whatsoever. The anti-green vegetable antioxidant thing, I think is complete horseshit. Like that's the where you lose me. Like everything else is fine. I have no problem with that.
And the thing about Pete too is he is pretty extreme. It's not that people took his seed oil thing too far. He was anti-PUFA, polyunsaturated fatty acids, which I think. Okay, I know Ray Peat is a lot. Whenever, you gotta understand, like I've never claimed Ray Peat. I've never eaten that way. I've never. By the time Ray Peat came into my field, I've already had like 10 of these dudes. You know what I mean? Where like 10 like nutrition guru guys that I've, and they all have their own special little thing, and like some of them are more culty than others. But after like the 8th or 9th one, you're like, oh, this is just another ring around the rosy, and it's like. So you just take what you like and leave the rest, And with Pete, he's like anti-PUFA. I guess what I was saying before is I know Ray Peat is right about some stuff, including some pretty esoteric cool shit, because he's just willing to go there. I also know he's wrong about a lot of stuff, and I just don't think polyunsaturated fatty acids, which are indeed essential fatty acids that your body needs, especially omega-3, are harmful to health. In the way he says now, seed oils, that's a whole different thing, but he's legit. And some people take the PUFA thing to like a extreme, like cutting out all PUFAs, and it's
what would be so what would be something you would cut out
like
that
nuts,
would raise
like nuts and seeds,
right.
like fucking Brazil nuts or chia seeds.
Fish
are
too,
bad.
Right? Or would fish be part of it?
Well, yeah.
Too?
So
salmon's big time omega-3, right?
Yeah. So fish has lots of long chain PUFAs, omega-3. And it has a lot of saturated fat and stuff too. So Ray's whole thing is like focus on the saturated fats. And also he's like, coffee's extremely good. Again, I'm not anti-coffee, but I'm just kind of like, there's a lot of people that are addicted to coffee. I drink it. I don't think it's some fucking miracle thing. I don't know,
I'm fully addicted but I'm also completely bought in.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just like, I drink it, I just think you hear people wax poetic about it so much. Oh, I fucking let your hat sick, dude. I need one of those.
Oh yeah. You noticed. This is made by Big Mac McCarthy, and it's in our store. It's the Rare. If you're listening on audio, it's Rare, like the Dare Keep Kids Off Drugs program. It's in the same font. It's available at our store. It's very comfortable. It's on my head right now. And I believe we have it in t-shirt form as well. So that's that link is in the description where it says merch store.
Yeah, that was not intended. That was not a product placement at all. That just happened.
Yeah. Now let me tell you about AG1. AG1 is no.
So Pete. So it's just like it's just gotten a little, and I like a lot of the Pete people. There's a lot of them that I don't like, because it's just it's just
There's
weird. And
there's a weird politics Reddit thing happening as well, where it's like it feels like it's more than the diet.
so
Like
Braddock is a perfect example of
that's my boy.
like
Glad I
that's
can get
he's
on,
like
yeah.
he actually reads what Pete wrote, like checks out the literature references, tries shit out, doesn't put him on some gigantic fucking pedestal. I think he nails the Pete thing. I love how he treats Pete.
And he was
Good.
talking about him like on our show
Yeah.
before it like super.
Oh yeah.
I know why it blew up. I love the ladies, but Red Scare
Mhm.
mentioned him. It's Jover when that happens.
They
Every
loved it.
single
Yeah.
time
They love the
they
carrot salad. They love a new salad.
it was it exploded the minute
Yeah.
they said it. And look, I'm a little jealous because I wish that was things that I said did that,
Mhm.
but it's just
Mhm.
that is when I think somebody had told, I was like, why is everybody like going insane over like Ray Peat right now, like Tin Fish? Because that's the
Yeah.
weird thing is I thought Tin Fish, so not like a tin sardine doesn't have that stuff, because I think that's
I don't
part
know.
of
Well,
it.
that's the thing is what I've noticed is that there's no real guiding principles to this thing. It's just so
Right.
amorphous, and there's a lot of people that try and sum up. There's all these like flowery language around the Pete thing. Okay, so I come from like when I got into nutrition, I just went straight off the deep end, and I worked for like a raw food vegan doctor with an MD, like a real doctor, who ran like retreat centers for very wealthy and sometimes famous people,
Mm-hmm.
and like including Hollywood celebrities and stuff. So there's just like tons of money. Like people were dropping like their supplement budget was like $5,000 a month for some of his clients, on
Mm-hmm.
average, right? Sometimes more. Just dropping insane amounts of money on the craziest supplements and superfoods. Um, Again, if I had way more money, I would be doing crazier shit like that. Not to that extreme, but I mean, I'm just saying I'm not against spending tons of money on health stuff like Bryan Johnson. But so I did see a lot of people struggle with the raw food thing, of course, as to be expected. But I also saw a lot of people doing it, quote unquote, right for them, who were thriving and like vibrant,
Mm-hmm.
like they could be old, but they had perfect skin, perfect hair. We're glowing, we're literally glowing. They're just clearly nailing it. And then you hear these people talk about like, oh, we're trying to master the bioenergetic principle of energy metabolism and you're like, oh, okay, sounds good. And then like, what's the diet? And it's like, oh, it's a skim milk and Coca-Cola in a glass bottle. And you're like, what the fuck, dude? Like, so I guess I'm saying is like, I lived with people that were doing the whole bioenergetic thing, but like, living juices and like, fucking Himalayan goji berries soaked in spring water and just like high vibe type of shit, which I like, I like that stuff.
Yeah, me too.
And they
It's
were
delicious.
clearly glowing. And then I see people eating like factory farm skim milk and shit. And they're like, oh yeah, my bioenergetics. It's like, shut the fuck up, dude. It's just like, dude, it's like, I'm not saying that I was, because that shit didn't work for me. That's like, I'm not a raw foodist. I'm not into that,
Mhm. But you saw
but
it work
I
for
saw it work,
somebody. Yeah.
and
Mhm.
I struggle to see the magic of like, and the whole thing. It's just all like brands. It's all like Haagen-Dazs ice cream
That's the
and like,
problem I have with it. And then like you get
and
to the
we're being hard. We're picking at the worst parts of the Pete
no,
thing,
but what do they do about literally any other diet?
Yeah.
Is just is find the worst stuff ever. And it's like the thing I couldn't do is the two things I couldn't do. And I'm not saying I religiously either consume or don't consume these. I have a very kind of like when I feel I'm very yin and yang with my diet. So but like the oxalate thing, like greens, leafy greens, all
Yeah.
bad. And like the thing they say is always just like, oh, like they don't have nutrients. Like it's not real. It's like those things don't have nutrients, and you'll fart.
Yeah, they're worried about the
So
farts.
they're so scared of it.
Yeah.
It's like I'm like, what's wrong with that? I mean, I get it. Yeah, if you have like horrible pains and like you're trying not to pass gas or whatever. Like I understand. Like it shouldn't be painful, but it's like I couldn't imagine. I mean, I guess if you've had a bunch of raw milk and you fart, yeah. I mean,
that's the thing is
yeah.
like when you're plant based, when you have a healthy microbiome, or not even when you're just healthy, you can pass a ton of gas and it doesn't really smell. When your farts
Yeah.
smell or not, and it's like
Uh-huh.
It's like, I get it if you're passing tons of gas and it smells like where it clears a room. That's bad. You should figure
Yeah.
your shit out. But the oxalate thing, I'm just so, why are all these foods that are so bad for you supposedly associated with such high longevity rates all over the world? And I just don't understand and they're like, oh, it's because they're outside and it's not because of, it's in spite of that. I'm like, no, I don't think
I
so.
don't know about
And
that. Yeah. I don't know about
but
that.
I will say, like, if because there's a Jordan Peterson meme, have a sip of apple cider and your back it hurts for a month or whatever, that,
Yeah.
whatever that is, I will say, I think people are so fucked up from modernity, microbiome wise. There's something called SIBO, which is small intestinal bacteria overgrowth, where you can react extremely negatively to plant
Mhm.
compounds like oxalates and things like that. But the solution, getting rid of all that stuff as a whole, is probably a patchwork solution that you probably want to get to the bottom of the deeper issue and be able to eat those healthy foods that do contain phytonutrients that support longevity and anti-aging. That's just my take on that. And
Yeah.
that's not terribly hard to do, but I
The
would start
the
there. Yeah.
the other thing the two issues I have was, one was the oxalate thing, where I'm just like, I don't know. I don't feel that happening in what they're saying is happening when you
Yeah.
eat vegetables or like greens and whatever. Anything I think it's peppers, onions, and carrots, I think, are the ones that you're allowed to eat, which hey, all of them are great. Let's go.
Mhm.
But the I add those in it. Like, it's no problem. But the fact that everything else, it's like, oh, it's fake. It's like, well, your food eats it, so
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
at it, I like, I
Yeah.
mean, it's like, at that point, like, I can't imagine that there's no nutrients to it if at that point. But then,
Yeah.
okay, fine, whatever. That's not really a formal argument or that I'm saying. But the other one is the sugar, like sugar being basically a nutrient, and gelatin,
Yeah. Yeah.
which I find extremely weird, and just completely wrong.
Yeah.
Because it's not even just like natural cane sugar. Like, they'll go as far as to be like, no, refined sugar is totally fine. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
I don't
Really?
think
Yeah.
that's true. Like, I just don't think it is. And look,
Yeah.
they'll ask you for source after source after source, and then their source is the Ray Peat forum. So I'm like, well,
No, that website is straight schizo, man. It's like, and
which I respect that. I respect that, but let's not try
no,
to
I
win.
love
Like,
schizo shit.
yeah.
But my whole thing, again, I want to be very careful what I say here, because I'm not, you guys know, we're not a trust the
Yeah.
science podcast.
No, and
But
your website doesn't have to look that nice either. I'm
no,
not.
no.
Yeah.
But I will say that stuff can be written in a way, people love to talk in like biochemical language. And I'm not like some gatekeeper, because I don't have a fucking degree, and I know a little bit about that stuff, but that you need to be educated to talk about that stuff. What I will say is, you can very easily fool yourself by reading a lot of very confusing stuff that sounds cool and kind of based, but you don't really know what's being said. I just try and be very humble with this stuff, is my whole
Right.
thing. And there's a distinct lack of humility in the Pete crowd with how much they pretend to know about biochemistry, where I'm just like, it's like, I think you guys are overconfident, and
Yeah.
I'm not trying to I'm not trying to be the guy that says you can't, you're not allowed to, like, some real truther shit or some vaccine, like, I
Right.
hate that shit.
No, you
I
shouldn't be
hate
sent
it.
for it or anything. It's just,
Yeah.
be allowed. You should,
Yeah.
first off, you shouldn't completely turtle shell or go insane, like, defensive mode when somebody just goes, "Hey, are you sure
Yeah.
about that?"
Yeah.
Like, because a lot of people, like you yourself, because you said you've been doing this for a while, you're used to kind of having your whole diet just shit on publicly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and somebody like laughing at what you ordered at the restaurant, doing like, "Oh man, like, my food eats your food," like that whole like thing like that. You're used to that, and like these people, which is, again, this is very fringe, but I do think it's gonna have some legs. I do think I think you're gonna see. I mean, you already do see it. You already see more things that are advertising like other oils, alternative oils. I don't know whether that's from that, I'm not sure, but I'm all for those things. I'm all for that.
I would say I do think it's healthier to get rid of all seed oils versus all sugar.
100%.
I think a little bit of sugar is fine.
Yeah, a little. I mean,
Yeah. I think
Okay,
a
like,
little bit of seed oils like is
yeah.
probably also fine, but I think it gums you up pretty bad in a lot of ways too. Where you can't
Mm.
burn it off as much as sugar.
Oh no,
Um,
there's a different kind of fat, like, and
yeah,
just literally a physical fat looking person from seed oils. I do agree looks
yeah.
different than places where like they don't necessarily use that as the
Inflamed, red
yeah.
faced, it's just
Yeah,
different. It's different.
sluggish. No,
Yeah.
it's that shit's poison. Like I
Mhm.
that I have no qualms with. But the sugar thing, like it's like my biggest thing is like, the truth about cancer when you watch that. And I'm not saying you should always eat as though you have a bad disease, but there are things you can incorporate proactively into your diet. And I do
Mhm.
say we're long overdue to do another episode on that, but like the a lot of that stuff, like when people get sick, they don't go eat a bunch of sugar when they're trying, because these are
No.
people that aren't trying to even work alongside chemotherapy, alongside mammograms, all these other things. They're trying to completely buck the medical system when they're
Yeah.
solving cancer. That's what this documentary is about how the American Cancer Society, or all these other cancer things, Susan G. Komen, all these
Yeah.
huge things are just like kind of psyops,
Yeah.
honestly. And when somebody gets sick or something like that, something that, which sadly, like, even if you eat perfectly, I do think that there's just certain things you cannot get away from that are carcinogenic.
Yeah.
And are you going to just drink like Mexican Coke and eat Haagen-Dazs all day? Like when you're sick?
Exactly. That's the whole thing.
I don't think you are. And I don't
No.
first off, I think your body will reject that shit, first of all.
Yeah.
Like when you're sick. And when, like, one of the worst things I see in the hospital is they do just hand them ice cream and like fucking like
Mhm.
like this nasty stuff with like no nutrients in it whatsoever when they're in the hospital. And the doctors don't even, I swear to God, my grandmother has cancer right now and she's doing okay. She's doing all the, the regular cancer stuff. Thank the Lord she survived chemotherapy. But she was basically like, the doctor, I asked her, like, so what did they tell you, like, not to eat anything? She's like, no.
Yeah. No,
Like, yeah,
there's
just eat normally. I'm like, that's insane. This is like one of the most
Yeah.
deadly, by their words, deadly diseases ever.
Yeah.
Like in
Fine to eat
history.
whatever. Yeah.
Like, and they're just like, no, this is literally nothing. Just come in
Yeah.
here and let us do the Vietnam War on your body. And like there's then hopefully you survive. And if not, it's because we don't have enough money donated to us and enough marches and walks for us. But
Exactly.
what I mean
Yeah.
is, like, the Ray Peat people are more than welcome to send us stuff sometimes.
I haven't seen the Ray Peters reverse like stage
Reversing
4s.
disease. If I see because their big thing is diabetes too. Like that's a big thing that they
Mhm.
do, because when somebody says, like I said, they eat a shit ton of sugar and actively seek it out and stuff, like desserts, ice cream,
Yeah.
all these things. When they seek that stuff out, people's first thing is like, what about diabetes? And they're always like, no, that's an inflammation disease, which is true. I do agree that that's very much an inflammation based disease, and they say it's because of the seed oils most of the
Yeah.
time. That
Yeah.
again, maybe there's more nuance to that take than what I'm saying, but I'm kind of like, yeah, I think it's the sugar too, though, dude. Like,
Yeah. Well, I think it's
it's
sugar.
both. Most people don't just do one or the other, so that maybe
Nope.
that's what they're doing.
People don't
But
realize
yeah,
when you eat a bowl of ice cream, people are like, "Oh, the sugar." It's sugar plus a ton of
fat.
fat, and which those two things in combo wreak havoc on your insulin. Saturated fat is known to be harmful to pancreas beta cell linings. Beta,
Right.
where it's like we know these things. We know, and that's the thing about dairy is there are several mechanisms when you consume dairy that are linked to disease, including cancer. It's very likely that consuming excess dairy or any dairy at all fuels cancer to a certain extent, possibly to a large extent. And again, this goes back to like my raw food thing. I know people, I was living with people that reversed all the most insane diseases you could possibly think of, including stage 4 cancer, bedridden. Like diabetes is like there's like 10 diets that cure diabetes. It's not hard to cure diabetes.
Yeah.
That's like a
Right.
softball. Right? I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry if anyone's struggling with diabetes, but I've just I've just seen with my own eyes crazy reversals. And yeah, the Pete thing is it's all just like vibes and aesthetics. It's like, do you have a six pack or not? Or do you have,
Right.
it's just a very like, and I like a lot of it. I like the carrot salad. I think that he nailed it with that. I
Sounds
like
great.
the
Yeah.
white button mushrooms. Those are extremely underrated health food, like just grocery store mushrooms. There's a lot of good stuff. But yeah, I just think I just like, and my whole thing, like I've never, even when I was like even more hardcore hardcore vegan, I was just like, I wanted to learn from like meat eater people. I just was like, there's so many perspectives. I'm just like, yo, I like this diversity of thought, and I just want to learn from everyone, you know. And I just don't see that with. I think in anything in life, it hurts you to shut yourself off so dramatically from every other perspective and experience that people have. You know, I just see a lot of that, and that's not everyone, but it is a big part of the
So
culture,
before we
you
move
know?
on, a couple more things about Bryan Johnson, because that was how we even got on this
Oh yeah,
Ray Peat thing. So which I wanted to do both of those.
because Peters can't. They hate Bryan Johnson.
No,
Man.
yeah,
Yeah,
they're
it's
like they really. I thought the guy was like molesting people or something. Like I thought, like I would no, truly, maybe he is.
he's
I'm not
molesting
saying
the
he is.
truth, dude.
Yeah, because I was kind of like, oh, this guy's just different. Like he just does, like he's rich and he just like experiments and tries to biohack.
mil,
like,
dude. That's
yeah,
That's fucking, dude.
that's pretty
Can you
sick.
imagine?
Yeah,
It's just
dude.
I'd be doing dumbass shit too, dude. I'd be
All
doing
day.
way crazier stuff.
And then like so he grew his hair back, right? Bryan Johnson.
Yeah, he did. So okay, so this is what I saw people like tweet and be like, "Oh, if Bryan Johnson had the hair loss genetics, no one would listen to him because he'd just be like some bald dude." And like I know that he regrew his hair. He does like 10 different naturopathic things to regrow hair. So it's like, and meanwhile, I see a lot of Peters online that are trying to regrow their hair somewhat unsuccessfully, it seems. And it's just funny. It's almost like a jealousy thing, you know. It's like, and again, maybe you need to be like a $800 million guy to regrow hair.
No, and like there's
But
a decent chance
Yeah.
that he just got hair plugs.
Yeah, 100%.
I
Yeah,
do wonder, like I am a truther on that, where I'm like, okay, maybe he did a chia pet time lapse thing or something, but yeah, I don't know.
He does that like red light cat thing every day, which I think is interesting. But then I did hear one of his interviews. He's like, oh, and I use there's like one of those super mainstream topical drugs that does regrow hair. He's like, oh, and I do that too. So he regrew it with like mainstream shit, which I think is dumb. I would never touch those drugs.
What about I've been hearing people, and I think this is kind of a Pete thing, but I don't really have that issue with the hair. You don't either, but what about people that just eat a bunch of honey? I've been hearing that one. Is there anything to that?
I like honey. Yeah, that's why I can never be down with the 100% hardcore vegan scene, because it's like the bee. Yeah, so yeah, I love honey. I have honey all the time.
But do you think it actually grows your hair back? I wonder.
I don't know. Maybe
that's what I've heard. Yeah. I've heard, because people say that's a big like thing. That's the Norwood, the hair, like the that's what that is. The kind of widow's peaky, like balding Norwood kind of thing, or whatever. I don't know. Again, sadly, it's a thing.
That's interesting.
I've heard it. No, I saw somebody, and this is just not verified. I've just like, because Ben Braddock did a honey cleanse where he just like ate nothing but honey for a while, and he's still standing. So I mean, I can't imagine that you need to get him back on soon. I gotta ask him how that went. But the
and he would probably, I reckon he'd agree with a lot of our Pete treating.
Oh sure, yeah.
Here.
And so with the honey, like people were saying, like if you have that Norwood problem and you haven't tried eating just like exorbitant, I forget what the number, it was exorbitant. It was like triple digits grams, like of honey. Like it was just like
every day,
like something. Yeah, just constantly eating that. If you haven't done that, so hey, I'm not. Maybe there's some paperwork we could send to exonerate us in court of law. If you're bald listening to Rare Candy right now, and you're don't want to be bald anymore, see what happens. You know, I would love to hear it, like, you know, like just like, you know, do like a kind of a honey thing. I just would love to see somebody try it, because I'd love to like a document, a day by day, or even like, you know, week by week documentation of the hair growing back, because that does suck for guys, man. Like that does suck. That's one thing I just don't have. Like I know they say I don't know if this is real or not, but both like grandparents or your maternal grandfather, is you get that hair.
Yeah,
my grandpa's hair is fantastic still, so it's like, and then my other one had hair till his last days in his 90s. So I'm kind of like, okay, perhaps I've skated by on that.
I think there's a lot you can do for sure.
Why do you think it happens? Is it just genetics, or people used to say hats back in the day?
Yeah, I don't think it's hats.
I don't think. I wear hats all the time.
Yeah, I think it's complex. I think it's a lot going on. But I think there is a big genetic factor. I think. Look, I'm a big fan of the whole genes don't mean shit kind of ideology, but I do think there are a lot of things that are ruled by your genes. I could see it between like stuff I got from my dad, good and bad, in terms of just like his skin was always really fucked up, and that's something I've always had to deal with, in terms of just like flare up and like dermatitis and stuff like that. And it's like I do think that you can inherit good and bad skin and stuff like
easily.
that, just challenges, things that you have to learn how to manage that maybe other people wouldn't have to learn how to manage, it's all just every challenge is an opportunity, to really, I don't know. It's fun. I like it's getting to the point where you like it, but for I've heard of a lot of stuff for the naturopathic and otherwise for the hair and stuff like that. I don't know. It's interesting. I know red light's a big one. I have a panel. I got a panel on Amazon that I just use. I'll just put on my chest before bed and stuff. It's fucking great, dude. Right. I see people doing their not Psi directly, but I've seen like this is the Braddock thing. They do the genitals, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm not convinced the red light on the genitals is the best to do long time, because it can penetrate and heat up very quickly, and you do not. Heating up your testicles is a surefire way to decrease your testosterone and sperm count production. So I think like if you're going to do that, maybe just 5 minutes on and off from like a safe distance, not like your chest where you can just blast it. Just have it like right up fucking next to your chest.
Just have your boyfriend set a timer,
egg timer.
Yeah. But
from the 5 to the 6, we be in the mix. That red candy paint job on the whip. I need food for the kids, running for the rent. Fuck a lockdown, baby, can't do that
shit. Anyways, I watched Nick Mullins, or listened to Nick Mullins stand up at work
I heard
today.
everyone talking about that.
Big thing happened. Stavros Halkas has a special. These are guys from a very famous podcast that no longer is around, called Come Town. Very inspirational for me. Very, very life altering when I listened back. Everyone pretends they never listened. It's always a thing. Like I don't listen to that. I'm like, no, it was amazing. So and they were making like fucking $100,000 a month. Like it was crazy.
You would send me clips, and I would be I would be shopping for food in the grocery store, and I would just be crying laughing, like in the store. People were like, "What the fuck is wrong with this dude?"
Particularly Nick Mullen. I was having like a really tough mental time, and like that would be the time where I would truly escape. Would just put that on.
Dude, he's a special dude.
The voice, everything was hilarious. So he did stand up, and a couple episodes ago, I talked about how stand up is dead. Spoiler, it hasn't changed that take, but not only do I think stand-up is dead, but I think we're post-comedy. We're in post-comedy times where I think comedy, like laughter, funny things can only happen as a byproduct of something that's not designed to be strictly comedic, right? So like conversational.
It's elusive.
Conversational, like even like situational ironies, like things like I think people crave organic laughter, which I don't think stand-up is. That's not what that is. You're buying a ticket to go laugh somewhere, or you're clicking a video to laugh at something. Like I don't know. I guess people can. I'm not saying nobody can, but I do see a very like a decline. I mean, like there's a lot of things that aren't around anymore that we're entertaining, like barbershop quartets, dude. They're done. You know what I mean? Like they're
fucking gone. They're like there's like a small sect that keeps it going, but there's
always gonna be hanger-oners. There's always gonna be like metal detector guys on the beach, but like like there's always gonna be that. But
100%.
yeah,
that
like
shit, that shit was
and I respect
back
it
in the day.
People
were like, cranking that like, oh, dude, these harmonies, dude, they're just going
I know.
nuts.
And when those first popped off, like I bet you the metal, it's like, bro, like, no, it's not nerdy. Shut up. Like, this is sick. Like, don't mind my fishing hat. You got to wear it. It's part of the thing.
Because one dude came up on like $500,000 coin or something, dude, and he's like, yo, and
Oh, dude, yeah, exactly. So, what I'm saying is there will always be stand-up comedy. I think. I just think the era of like stand-up as like the thing of that people laugh at, it's done, right? So it's fine. But at that point, right? Like I've listened to Nick stand-up. It's funny. Like the first everybody that told me what it was exactly right. They said, look, it's funny. You're gonna laugh. The first 20 minutes are him just like qualifying everything, and not in like a I'm scared of getting in trouble, but like he's literally, it's a bunch of like, you can tell it's a bunch of like Chapo and like leftist Cumtown people that are in the audience, which that's not surprising. But he's like doing the whole like, what's the like transphobia? Like, why? Who even cares? Like doing that at the beginning, letting you know that he wants healthcare. So once you do that, and this was always the Cumtown thing, why they always got away with everything, was because they always wanted healthcare. They're like, hey, by the way, I want healthcare. So here comes my Chinese joke, which he literally did. And it's a hilarious joke that he told, which I won't tell. Go say he did a very good Chinese COVID joke that was really funny. Yeah. But he had to do, like, I don't think as many people would have laughed at it in the crowd. Had he not done the I want healthcare, what's the deal with transphobia? Like, who even cares? Like freaking rednecks, right? Like doing like Italians, you know, like doing all like the classic like leftist.
That's the funny thing about Nick is he never seemed to me, and we're all mixed up, and we all went through the same journey together with all this shit, you know. And sorry for all you people that were ultra based back in 2014 and didn't tell us, you know, whatever, you know, like cool. But to where I never felt like he fit in with his own. I'm like, this is the Chapo guy. He's like, he clearly hates this COVID horse shit. You know, he's like just too autistic to even, you know what I mean? Like he just seemed like, I was like, he seems like he's more on our side for this whole thing. But he's just associated with this. Yeah, exactly. I don't know.
I laughed that he had to, you know, like that. And like it's clear because you know, stand up, it's not going up there and riffing. Like that's what this is. That's what his show was. Which I'm sorry, it's funnier. But the reason that it's, I think like you have to like win the crowd over, and it's like very weird to have to do it politically at first to kind of let them know it's like, hey, I'm not just like a guy who makes Chinese jokes. Like I take all my jokes. You cannot. They're all ironic because the irony in all these is that I'm making a Chinese joke while having perfect politics.
Well, that's the thing. When I think of stand-up now, I think of like scrolling on a YouTube short, and it's that dumb, you know,
girl.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, that's all it is. Like the weird, like Pippi Longstocking, like looking girl. That's always just.
And you can tell, like you know exactly what the audience is. You know who they are. Yeah. You fucking know who they are. You know, it versus with the exception of maybe like a Shane Gillis or Matt.
McCusker,
exactly. Matt Psi, kind of. But with that exception, you know that that's probably why it's dead. That's probably why you're right. And your take is just, let's be real, dude. It's all just for YouTube shorts of fucking .com workers, or I don't know. It's just fucking weird, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's kind of crazy when because you see those shorts, and that's the thing. Whenever something gets broken up into like small, like minute fractions, like that usually means that eventually it's going to die out, because the minute that you ask somebody to sit through 60 minutes of something they thought was going to be as funny as the one short, like it's not gonna work. And I do think there's a lot of things like is the novel still alive? Like maybe not, but I do think people should write novels.
Yeah,
because I like the novel. What I like is it's not a performance. It is in a sense, but there's a buy-in to it. Like you're gonna sit down and read 320 pages of whatever I want you to read. But the story, I will launder my takes a lot of times into a story. Sometimes it's even like auto fiction, and there's a buy-in, and there's like kind of a little secret. Like a little secret between you, like a little nobody else knows this about you except me, you know. But and the podcast, I think, is kind of like that. like a little bit. There's like a parasocial element to it, because I know this as a listener. I'm not just saying this about how I think people listen to our show. I just mean in a sense, like I would know, like you could kind of like people make a joke like that you're like laughing like with them, like as if though you're there, but like that is the case. For stand-up, there's this weird like I'm being performed to, and I don't think that's where people's head is at right now. I don't think that everybody's used to having their own enterprise because they have social media accounts. So it's but I don't think people ever feel like an audience member anymore. I think most people are like they think they're a part of everything.
It's like a virtual reality kind of like it's a it's kind of hard to, it's a couple layers removed from what it used to be, right? Where you used to go to a club and it used to be just cigar smoke and shit, and it maybe not the best characters and stuff, and now it's just hyper removed from that, right? And there's no coming up. You can't come up as a stand-up comedian anymore because you have to be like a social media manager.
Gotta have a podcast.
You know?
Gotta have a pod.
Exactly.
Gotta, you know, some guys write books. Matt McCusker wrote a book. And like there's like you gotta have that accompanying thing, right? Like it's like so yeah, that's all I gotta say is because we were talking about that a couple of weeks ago, and now it's like all of a sudden like two of these guys who were very famous podcasters now drop their stand-up special. And
are they all doing their own thing now, all three of them? Or
well, Nick produces Adam's show.
Okay,
so like it's them two. He's like he hops on and does like a little like intro with Adam, like where they talk a lot of times, kind of like riff with each other a little bit still, but it's a little more serious. And then but yeah, Stav does I don't know what Stav does. He like probably does like I don't know, like trans kids, like fucking fundraising things. Like I have no idea what he does right now. That's beside the point. That whatever. I don't know. But yeah, so that there's that. And I do think one more thing, that industry, it might have been accelerated just by COVID too, because like that just killed stand-up comedy for a long time, and it turned it into YouTube stand-up comedy, like where you could tell you're watching a special. And I know there were always TV specials like Chris Rock, like Bigger and Blacker and stuff that was meant for TV, but also you could easily see that it was a performance. It like the idea was, am I there? Like I should feel like I'm there. Not like on YouTube where it's like, I'm clearly watching this on YouTube. You better make me laugh, asshole, or I'm switching to fucking, you know, what Minecraft videos or something. There's this, that there's a difference there, I guess. And I think that's when it turned into that. And like, I felt bad for them. I felt bad for those guys. Like that. It's just like, you get your whole industry taken from you, but they were able to pivot to the podcast format. Pretty well. I mean, comedy is an essential element to a podcast. I mean, it totally is for most podcasts. Like, so yeah, that's where we're at there. But what is the thing? And it's really hard to say this, but what is the thing about our friend Steve Kirsch? What is he doing right now? Try your hardest to be YouTube friendly with this, if you can. If not, we'll take I think we have a warning. We can get strike one, and then we have to have a woman scold us with a yardstick on virtual, like Blade Runner style, and then telling us how to erase our strike. So if it happens, it happens. What is happening with New Zealand? I've been kind of not checked out of that game. I always care. I always, trust me, like if you are new to this program and you think don't know what our COVID stuff was, there is the entire year of like 2020 and 2021 is full of that. So go ahead and go back
and listen to our more recent episode with him just to get his vibe.
Yes. It's called Misinformation Super Spreader. I'm kind of conflicted on him sometimes, where I'm like, yo, you know,
he's crazy.
I mean? Like, I'm like, nuts. Yo, like this dude is schizo. Like, but you need that. You need that crazy ass linebacker that gets like 17 tackles a game and like one test, like one insane kind of crippling like late hit out of bounds. You know, like it's like you got to take the good and the bad. He's that guy. You guys just that guy, like that Tasmanian devil of a guy. You know, just like it's good because and he's ready to go to war all the time. It's tough for me to say that the data doesn't check out. I mean that he's he's talking about. So what's happened? What is he doing right now? He's at like Parliament right now. There's all this weird stuff happening.
I mean, the most recent thing is There's so much crazy shit. First of all, there's like the okay. So what's happening now is Kirsch kept hyping up this. Well, first of all, he's like a Bryan Johnson dude. He's a tech multimillionaire,
Right.
gazillionaire, who has an entire fucking wing / auditorium at MIT named after him. He donated money to get a wing named after him. So he's like fucking. He's okay. That's like, say what you will, but to be able to make a multi-million-dollar company and sell it as an autistic nerd is pretty fucking impressive. Like that takes you're probably pretty fucking. His IQ is probably like, and we're not IQ guys, but it's probably like 175. Let's be real, dude. It's probably like off the fucking charts. He's probably just hyper intelligent.
Right.
And again, he funded like the Moderna trials. He used to be like the vaccine guy, and then he just snapped. He's like, oh, this is horseshit. And then he just went completely the other direction. And I will say, before I get into the specific, I know I'm rambling, but I love when people accuse him of being a grifter, like him making $5 per click on Substack versus when he has like $190 million net worth. Like, is this like, really, dude? Like, you think he's like doing this for money?
Yeah, I would imagine he's
Yeah.
leaving money on the table right now.
Yeah, dude, 100%.
Yeah.
So anyway, so he kept hyping up. He's like, just wait till November 30th. I'm going to MIT to speak in my own auditorium that's named after me. And I'm going to drop some data that none of you have ever seen before. Just fucking wait. I'm going to and he was hyping it up for like a month. Everyone's like, what is this dude talking about? And I guess what it was he got access to this. There's a couple people involved, I guess. One of them was like this I think his name might be Brian too. This ex-New Zealand healthcare administrator worker guy who basically whistleblew a bunch of their internal data and like put it out that basically showed that the thing that we're not allowed to say on YouTube are in fact mortally dangerous for people and will end your life sooner than if you didn't get said thing.
Right.
Basically, conclusively proven, supposedly, by this data that he released. Now,
the thing that you were told was life-saving, that would
actually,
that the thing that you could be possibly sick with, that definitely was from natural origin, of course. The thing that they would force on you unless you wanted to lose your job, that thing was super safe and effective. Now, this new data that Mr. Kirsch is withholding is saying otherwise.
Well, and so he's always kind of posted graphs, as has everyone in this movement, going like, this looks weird. UK looks weird. Why is this data looking this way? Why are people dying in this sector when they shouldn't be? Apparently, this New Zealand thing just blows it out of the water. I don't know how I feel. There are people within the movement that are kind of like, I don't know if it really says that. He's adamant. He's like, no, like and he does have this like very highly regarded statistician, what's his name? Professor Norman Fenton or whatever. He's the real deal. And he's like been doing medical statistics his whole life. And he's like a well-regarded expert. He backs it up. Now what's crazy is people were reposting this data, which is anonymized. People were criticizing it. So it's anonymized and completely randomized. So it can't be traced back to any one individual at all, which is why they say that it's bad that you have this data. First of all, why don't we have all this data anyway? Like, what the fuck, So, but they were like, oh, it's actually bad that you're, like when they're like, when they're like, it's actually bad that you're seeing this. You actually don't want to see this, you just trust us. But anyway, so people were reposting this data to, I guess, Mega, which is not Mega Upload, but it's like a affiliate of it's like a cloud service.
Is it fucking media fire or what?
Yeah, exactly. No, exactly. I think it is something like that. I'd never heard of it, honestly.
Dat Piff was he putting on Dat Piff?
Yeah, but apparently it's like an encrypted, not decentralized, but it's like encrypted, supposedly, to where you can upload anything you want to this, including PDFs full of data or spreadsheets full of data, and it'll be safe. But the New Zealand were deleting people's entire accounts like Kevin McKernan, who's famous for the DNA plasmid contamination story with said product. He got his whole fucking terabyte of data over a career of working with genomics in cannabis and all sorts of other stuff in human health, just wiped because he hosted a copy of Steve Kirsch's data on this supposedly encrypted decentralized site, right? So it's like, okay, that right there tells me that this shit's real, because why else would you be tripping about removing it from like this super secure website? So it's like, that's basically what's happening. And again, Kirsch is like a fucking bull in a china shop, where he's probably hurting people on both sides just with how reckless he is, you know what I mean? Where like, but also he's not the one I blame. I blame the fucking
He's a guy that needs to be deployed, not given carte blanche for everything. Is what I would say. You need to be like oh, you know, like the general in the war movie where it's like, sir, they've breached the castle. It's like deploy Kirsch.
Exactly.
Yeah, you know, that's how it's
that's
how you have to do it.
I think that's what like Kevin McKernan was like, bro, I hosted your shit and my whole shit's gone. Like, not blaming him, but being like, dude, what the fuck, dude? You know what I mean? Like,
he is. I mean, he was the number one. I think the number 1 or 2 to Dr. Mercola, who Dr. Mercola was having people stalk him like at his beach house and stuff, and like being followed and stuff. And like, you know, I could just see like Dr. Mercola like offering him like supplements and stuff like that. Just like, hey, what's up, dude? Like, you want to stalk me, dude, or you want to like, you know, reverse heart disease? Like, what's up? But those 2 guys were like top 2, so it's like, they have probably a red flag in like every database for like 100%. Anything that happens. Like, it's crazy. So I don't know. It's like, it's one of those things where it's like, it's tough for me to like follow it like sports, like the new developments on that front, because I just rejected the entire framework.
Yeah.
And I feel like the people that follow it a lot are people that took it.
Yeah.
Like people that like follow it or like feel like still scorned by it. Not or, you know, look, you might have known somebody who was, you know, harmed. Well, hell, we all do, sadly, by that. But for me, I'm kind of like not getting it, never will. It's not my problem. Like, I do feel for anybody who is suffering from that or had it, you know, really forced on them. And I do feel for that. But for me, it's always just like, hey, did you see this like latest thing from this country about the thing? I'm always just like, well, no, I didn't, but I bet it's bad. And they're like, it's bad. And I'm like, I knew it was bad though.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I'm like,
that's
exactly
why I
didn't take
feel.
it. Yeah. So that's just always how I am, where they're like, the Denmark numbers, bro.
Yeah.
Watch out, dude. Fucking, it's like, you know, like you saw the Denmark show, dude. You got to put on the Denmark show.
Yeah.
Like,
that was a great
Denmark 81, dude.
Yeah,
like,
dude. Trust me, dude. Trust this one part. Like, no, wait for it. It's 10 minutes long.
No, what's the one they like? What's the one they like? I think
Cornell
it's
77 or 78.
Scott like carving like literally.
Dude, they love Cornell 77, dude.
Scott's probably gonna kill me. Yeah, I think it's Cornell 77, right?
Yeah.
No, fucking god damn it, no.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, they love Cornell 77 in upstate New York. They do love it. So the anyways, I saw something on it was like something about Lil Yachty. We talk about rap on here and people like when we do, so I have no problem with this. He's like, I know people like to just get their jokes off, so it's tough to tell when people think something's actually bad or they just like see that something is easily memeable, so they try to capitalize on it for engagement, especially when Elon's paying people for that stuff essentially now. So Lil Yachty, and this is in Rolling Stone, so I don't know if it's true. Sorry, it's Rolling Stone. Guys, remember the Oklahoma story about the horse paste? Just saying.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll have to trust Rolling Stone for this. Lil Yachty cites Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon as an inspiration. I heard that quote. I heard that album and it altered my perspective on music. There's endless ways to form a sonic wave. That album came out when there was no auto-tune. And like, yeah, it's kind of a dorky quote. Like, it's kind of like a Zoomer ass, like, you know, the quote. But I don't know. I remember, you know, I remember hearing like Zeppelin for the first time, and I don't think my like take was profound about it. I just remember really liking it.
Yeah.
and just like you have to like kind of get more entrenched, and then you find that gateway into like all this great music that came out before you were born. And then you can like know people that were around during that time and like see the way it changed them. But like there's all these people that are like, this is like an SNL skit, like this is like you know, there's a lot of people, you know, there's other people saying like, yeah, that's amazing. That's someone's like, wow, bro just discovered a 50-year-old album and wants to tell us about it. And it's like, dude, like it's gonna help him. I bet his next album's better. I mean, unless he tries
100%.
to like recreate it. Unless he tries to
funny.
It, which would be dumb. But like, you know, when you make a certain genre of music, which look, rap is, I like rap, but rap is limiting.
Yeah.
When you only listen to rap and you make rap, as you get older, you need to incorporate other elements, not sound wise, into your thing, because that gets you in trouble too when you make your bongo album and shit like that. Your NPR album, Tiny Desk album, like you don't need to do that, but like you do need to kind of bring in other elements to grow as a rapper, or else you like Big Boy, like Outkast. I always like they always listen to like everything, like they you know, all that stuff. And I think that's cool that he's doing that, like that, because I hate the like Lil Uzi Vert, I've never heard of Tupac thing. That's just stupid. Like,
well, I think Lil Yachty was kind of that way too with the Tupac.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I'm glad, and I'm a Dark Side of the Moon defender, man. I'm like, you know, that shit's never been cringe or overplayed to me. Out of all the super overplayed albums,
I love it, but it's
for
not
me,
the one I run.
like,
it's not the one I run to. Yeah, it's all. Yeah, no. First off, it is the gateway to Pink Floyd, though.
Yeah.
Like that or The Wall, pick one, you know, and like to get in, you know, and then you get into Animals, then you get into metal, then you get you know, then you get into all these other ones. But
absolutely.
I think that stuff's cool, and I think if you want a genre to survive and a genre to like, because rap is young, man. Like people don't realize like rap is like it's not here forever.
No.
Its current state at all, like, because right now, like I've said, everything is rap now. So like country is rap, just in the same way in like the late 90s, early 2000s, everything was rock and like rap rock and blah blah blah, you know, all these things. The rap is now the hot thing because there is a bass, like a low end to it that stops, that everybody stops and looks at and goes, whoa, like, what's that? That's crazy. That's rattling. Like it's my AirPods are going crazy right now because of that bass. And then so everybody incorporates in that song, which then makes rap not as good. Because if I can hear 808 drums or, you know, crazy bass lines, very like thick, vibrant bass, in, I don't know, I'm trying to think of like any artist that's not rap, you know, because you can,
like
Tame Impala, even, like, you know what I mean, or just something like that. I can hear that country, right, or anything. Rap doesn't have that same transgressive feel to it that it did as that happened. So rappers are gonna need to grow, and they're gonna need to make adjustments. And I think when good music is like, they're like Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon is objectively good. If you don't like it, you are an outlier. Like that's just, it's one of those albums, like whatever. It's so when people find things that are objectively good and listen to them and really like them and get that first kind of ever like mind-blowing experience. And he was probably like doing shrooms too. So like whatever, that's fine. That's good. So when that happens, that's a good thing. And I think they all need to do this. And because rap is not this thing that's going to be here forever. And I even think the 808 drum it has a very sinister quality to it that I love. I'm a fan, but there's something to that. And when John Keel's book, I think it's like the Seventh Tower or something like that. I can't remember. I didn't finish it, but I was listening to like pieces of it on an audiobook, and he was just talking about like drums for like tribal events and stuff, like drums being this frequency, like these really like thick tom-like drums that really rattled in your ears and stuff. Like that was like a way to like get a message across. And like I do believe that like rap was deployed on the world to like just make like, for one, I mean, it does serve its purpose as very good active music, but I do think there's that violence element, the nihilist element of rap that's in there. Like I do think the 808 serves as a way to kind of like, I know the term dog whistle. is used a little bit, but it perks your ear up. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, whoa. Let's hear what he's saying. You know, and it adds that extra intensity to it. And now all music has that now. So what do you think that's going to be?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I realized it was all over the place there, but I just was thinking like, I would never make fun of somebody like that to there is a thing where it's like, oh, you just found out about that.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, so what?
So what standard are we all held to where you expect it's kind of like the reading thing. I read that in high school. You know, you expected everyone to listen to everything before a certain date, and then you know what I mean? It's such a dumb way. I think that holds a lot of people back in art and music and stuff, where it's like it's like I like it, especially when an older guy, like an old musician, is like, yo, this was around when I was a kid, but I just heard it for the first time, because you can't listen to everything unless you're listening to music all day, every day. And even then you couldn't listen to it all, you know? So it's just, it's a pointless exercise, you know? And by the way, everyone that makes those claims or talks that way always sucks at music themselves and always has dog shit takes, you know? It's really funny, dude. You know, it's
just the whole, the book, either I read it in high school or it's like, or like the other thing with books is I read it at the right time for me. They always say that when it's like when you're a kid and they're like, oh, it's kid shit. And it's like, no, it's not. Like none of this stuff is kids shit. Like it's like you're trying to find there just comes a time where there's a take within a take within a take.
Yeah.
And you're fighting like a weird subgroup before that subgroup exists.
Yeah.
To where that if you said I like Dark Side of the Moon, you think either someone's gonna say the thing, oh, you just found out about that, or if you say I actually it's whatever, you're saying that because you're already thinking about a bunch of people finding it and ruining it for you. And it's like, well, no, just that means you need to remove yourself from the internet for a little bit.
Yeah.
100%. When you get there, it's like at that time you're just like you're shadow boxing. Like it's not like there's no
exactly. Yeah.
It's just that's too online. That's too online when
Way
you're
too
not
online.
able to ever enjoy anything.
Yeah.
Like when you everything you find something that you like, but then you like in a Western movie, you look over the horizon and see like this impending doom coming to your small town, and where it's like, you know, a girl finding out about it or something. And you're kind of like, you can't live that way. Like and reclaim it, take it back from them.
And music's good because good music is good because it knocks you off your feet and you can't analyze it, at least right away, you know, where you're like, what, you know, it puts you on your back foot. That's so when people just try and make everything and try and figure it out and put it in boxes and stuff, which is a natural tendency of humans to do that. Like, I understand that.
Sure.
But it's like, yo, come on, just let it breathe for a minute. And I don't know.
And just like, and then when you just keep going back to it and it's still so good, like, you know, right now I'm going, you know, working my way through the Prince catalog for an upcoming episode at the beginning of the year. Just Prince. I'm just like, God, this is so good. And even like when you listen to it in the canon, when you just go from like, you know, the continuing story of Prince, essentially, like when you start at the beginning and you're just like, oh, like I was just talking to the people when we're getting the episode together. I was just talking to the people that we're going to have on, and he has an album called Around the World in a Day, which is one of the I can't remember if it comes right after Purple Rain, but it's after Purple Rain, where, you know, like a lot of people, no album was going to succeed after, in my opinion, the best fusion of art and pop at the same time. Purple Rain is like, it functions as like an artistic feat as much as it does a pop, like iconic pop album, and then intersects and then creates a whole separate like offspring of like a art, you know, pop child, basically, like that then learns to live on its own. And but so the albums after that, they get shit on, but you listen to them, you're like, God, these are still so damn good. But then you like those albums, but then you're not like, now Purple Rain sucks because I found better Prince songs that nobody knows about. And you're like, no, Purple Rain's still actually incredible. Yeah. And so it's that's the way to go about it. So I guess on that note, I don't have much more, but
it's good. We handled the Pete thing. It had to be addressed, you know. It's just like
had to do the Pete thing. I think we've done it before, but it's just like you gotta bring it back. It's like, I don't hate the guy. I just don't think it's sustainable for a long time to have like Mexican Coke, ice cream, a bunch of meat, and just completely ignored greens. I look, maybe I'm wrong. Do it. Prove me wrong.
Yeah.
Like, prove me wrong.
Yeah.
No, do it for a long time. And if a disease occurs, reverse it with that.
Yeah.
Like that's all I'm saying. Like, so that's I don't know. I like I like some of the stuff. I like a lot of the sunscreen. He does a big anti-sunscreen guy. I like it. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot. There's a lot to like. There's a
Yeah.
lot to like. However, that it's also not the first time I've heard the thing that I like from Ray Peat.
Exactly.
I've heard it.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Like, I'm always just like, okay, but this isn't like, okay, like you're spitting right now. It's like, no, I heard that from Dr. Mercola. You know what I mean? Like, I heard that from.
Yeah, exactly. That's
yeah.
one thing. It's like it's not the originator of a lot of that shit. Yeah, I agree.
So,
yeah,
exactly. So,
yeah.
So, anyways, guys, just Gain of Fiction might be a little bit late. I usually have our premium episode by the weekend. We're having some scheduling conflicts, but I do think I'll have it probably by Monday or Tuesday. So if you don't see anything this weekend, it's coming. I'm sorry, but we're doing H.P. Lovecraft. Just finished at the Mountains of Madness today, which is spurgy, insane. It is. I don't even know what to say. It's I've never read anything like it. However, I've seen everything that stems from it, which is kind of cool. And Call of Cthulhu. So we're covering those two stories. I've already decided that probably I have like the funny, like kind of like mom core, like Barnes and Noble like collection, 1,000-page collection of Lovecraft stories. So I will probably just be picking, returning to that here and there, because there's a few more other stories. He has a few like hardcore alien stories that I want to get into. So that looks fun. And then we got a few other, like I said, a big Prince. I think the Prince one will probably be half one episode of Prince, because he's getting 2 episodes, will be free. The other one will be on the Substack, so you're not going to want to miss that. rarecandy.substack.com, so you can get the full Prince episode, because there's just way too much to discuss there. And then after that, we will move to Miles Davis on the music front, and then perhaps Jay Dilla, which would be whatever happens there. And
once we get all those done, we can reassess where we're at. We need to get those done. Those 3. Yeah.
And then we have Will Compton coming on the show. No, I'm kidding. I wish. I really want to have Will Compton from Bussin' and the Boys, man. I just
so good. Yeah.
I know. Like, I just think about, like,
that's where I got that Dana White clip.
Yeah, it wasn't Theo. It was Will Compton. Yeah. So if you guys don't know Will Compton, real fast, he played linebacker in the NFL for a while, and he has a show with like his really good friend that he played with for the Tennessee Titans named Taylor Lewan, and they're just like comically bro. Like, it's like the show is called Bussin' with the Boys. I remember they had Channing Crowder, who's one of my other favorite podcasters for NFL, was on, and he was like, he called it Bussin' in the Boys, which I thought was very funny, on accident, but then he like laughed really hard. But it takes place on a bus, if you can believe it or not. Their podcast, and they always have really good interviews, because they have like aligned like NFL players and stuff. But it's just like the way like Will Compton like tells stories, and it like doesn't matter if it's the most serious story or like the most funny story. It's told with the same tone and like the same like bro thing. So like, even if it was like if he was talking about like Roman Polanski like molesting a little girl, like he would say it like he's like yeah, he's got the house, Rome, he's got a house out in the hills. Jack Nicholson's there, Jackie's there, right? And the boys got active. The girl was a little young. Yeah, she was a little 13ish, you know what I mean? And the boy was getting active. Yeah, down there. He went a little crazy. You know what I mean? Like, dial it back a little bit, Rome. Like, it's like he does that about everything. Like, it's just like it's
so good. I know, like in that Dana clip where he's like, Dana's like, "You fucking motherfucker." And you're talking about Peloton, and then in the background he's like, "You biking motherfucker." And he's just like chimes in. He's like, "You bike riding motherfucker." And he just like, you know it because of the subtitle.
I know, NFL players are I know. NFL players are the fucking best, dude. Like,
dude, it's so good. Dude.
They're awesome. So funny, man. Yeah. So that's our next frontier, hopefully, is to like get some people like
we
that.
need to break
I really,
that cherry, dude. That
my
fucking
God, I
someone,
know.
dude.
Just even ex
Chad
NFL
Ocho,
player.
dude, I love Ocho Cinco.
Oh, Chad is great.
He is
Chad
fucking
is
hilarious.
Chad
dude.
is the best, man. Like,
he brings the best out of Shannon Sharp, too.
Yeah, that
Shannon
podcast is that.
Dude.
Yeah, Shannon Sharp is such an enigma, but like,
you know, he is what he is. But dude, him and Ocho are fucking great.
I know. Yeah, I love when he turns Shannon Sharp into like a huge like foot fetish pervert, like randomly. Like Shannon will be like, "Oh, I lick them toes, Chad. Chad, I lick them toes." Yeah,
I like I watched this one. They were arguing about health, whether you should eat healthy food or not, and obviously Chad Ochocinco's like, "No, I just eat McDonald's," and then Shannon Sharp, he's fucking dumb. He's like, "We surveyed our audience, and 84% said that you should eat a healthy diet," and he's like, "Ain't none of them could cover me, dude."
Yeah, I like the I remember he had an interview with like Barstool, where this like Barstool girl went to his house like that, and I forget what like the situation was, like where like he's like, "Can I have a glass of," he's like, "Can I get you something to drink?" And she's like, yeah, can I have a glass of water? He's like, "Get it yourself," like that. She's like, "What?" He goes, "Thought y'all wanted equality," and it's like not even what she's there for. Yeah, like she's literally like a Barstool chick who probably doesn't even care about any like she's not a feminist like that. I know. No, Ocho is like, Ocho's the GOAT, dude. He's always
a special dude. Yeah. His mic'd ups too, dude, are insane, dude. They're insane, dude.
The best. Oh yeah, remote viewing. You're still conducting remote viewing for the NFL, so
dude,
that's all in the Discord. I teased the Discord earlier. Again, if you want to get in remote viewing, again, you might be like, "I don't know anything about the NFL." It doesn't matter. Neither does anybody, I think, that actually does the remote viewing. I think you know the most out of everybody there. But for the most part, that's crazy. I just got an alert from r/Lovecraft.
Oh God,
dude, is anything private anymore? I fucking hate this shit. Like, it's just like it's just God, dude. Like, we've traded all forms of like nonverbal communication for surveillance, and I just hate it so much. Like, we just and no, everybody has a doorbell cam. Yeah, everybody has this shit. It bothers the hell out of me. All right, guys. On that note, everybody have a safe week. We'll catch you guys next time.